Hey everyone, so this is the second part of the polynomial unit where we're going to talk about subtracting polynomials. Now this is going to be very similar to the last video. In fact, it's actually going to be much shorter since we're not going to have to go over those the terminology anymore and the vocabulary in this unit. But don't forget them. Also make sure that you have either printed out the note sheets that go with this or you've downloaded them and you have a way to kind of edit them digitally. One thing that you can use is this program called Cami. It allows you to edit documents and then you could save those annotations and whatever you wrote on there later on. Alright, so the polynomial subtraction, just like with polynomial addition, we can only add or subtract uh, whenever we have like terms. So that means, remember, that means uh, in the terms that we combine, they have to have the same variables raised to the same power. So both have to be x squared, y squared, both have to be xy, something like that. There is one little change and one little caveat, and that's the fact that we now are going to have to take a little bit of special care before we actually combine them. For me, I find this the easiest, but anytime you see the negative or the subtraction outside of a set of parentheses, what you're going to want to do is flip the signs of everything in that polynomial expression. All right, so a good example here. Here are two polynomial expressions being subtracted, 7x plus 8 and 4x minus 3. This negative is going to flip every sign that's inside of these parentheses. So I'm going to switch this negative to be a positive. I'm going to switch this positive 4 to become a negative 4. And I'm going to switch this minus 3 to a plus 3. So now my equation looks like this. 7x plus 8, that stays the same, plus minus 4x plus 3. Now that I have this, I can end up doing the problems a lot easier. If you didn't have to do this, but to me it is the significantly easiest thing to do. All right? So here are the first set of questions. You can pause the video, work on this stuff, and we'll go over it in a second. All right. So again, right before I begin this problem, I just want to kind of get rid of this minus sign. So I'm going to turn it into a plus sign, which means that this 7 becomes a negative, this 8 becomes a negative, and this becomes a plus 15. Now if you want, you can always write it again. Again, this is one of the things I recommend. I'm not, because I don't want to waste that much time. So now I go through the combining like terms. So I have a plus 3x squared and a minus 7x squared. So again, we're going to combine those coefficients. 3 plus negative 7 gives me negative 4x squared. All right. Now I go to the next term. So minus 5x plus minus 8x. So again, combining the coefficients, minus 5 plus minus 8 gives me minus 13x. And then the last term, plus 9 plus 15. So put that into the calculator and I get plus 24. All right, and there we go. There's my simplified expression. Going down to here, so once again, there's really nothing to do right here. Instead, I'm going to flip the sign here. This becomes positive. This becomes a negative 3. And this becomes a plus 2z. So go through. This is one like term, and this is the next like term. So combining the coefficients, 5 plus 2 is 7z. Then I'm going to, there's no other term to combine with this 3, so I'm just going to leave it as minus 3. And there we go. Once again, simplified version. All right. Here's the next question. You can pause the video, work and stuff, and we'll go over in a second. Alright, so for number 3, once again, I see the negative. I'm going to flip the sign here, so this becomes plus. This becomes a plus. This becomes a negative. This becomes a negative. This one also has a negative sign. Normally, this only affects this polynomial that is right after it. It wouldn't affect this. But since this is a negative sign, I'm going to do the same thing. So I'm going to make this minus. This is going to become a plus. And that's going to become a plus. So I'm going to start off with the combining of the x squares. 7x squared plus 2x squared minus 5x squared. So combining those coefficients, 7 plus 2 plus negative 5 gets me 4x squared. For the next term, minus 8x minus 3x and plus 10. So negative 8 plus negative 3 plus 10 gives me minus 1x. Or if you want, you could just simplify that to be minus x. And the very last term, minus 4 minus 5 plus 8. So negative 4 plus negative 5 plus 8 gives me, again, minus 1. So this ends up being my simplified subtraction. Alright, going on to here. So I'm going to actually write this out. So it's 9x plus 4y minus 3x minus 2y. Now normally you want to pay attention to the wording of the question because just because this is said first doesn't mean this one comes in front. But the wording here is saying the difference of this and this does imply that it's going in this order. So I could just replace and with a negative sign for subtraction and I should be golden. So once again, I'm going to flip this positive sign, and then every term in this polynomial is also going to flip its sign. So that becomes plus 3x and plus 2y. Alright, going through, combining this term with this term, the coefficients are 9 plus 3, and I end up getting 12x. Then I'm going to go to the next term, the plus 4y and the plus 2y gives me plus 6y. Right. We're going to have 2 more questions, one of which is the exit question. So this is the last one that we'll be going over together, so pause the video, work on the self. We'll go over in a second. Alright, so just like the question we did before, I flip this sign. This becomes minus 3x and minus 2y. So combining the x's together, I have 8 plus negative 3. 8 plus negative 3 is positive 5x. And then the y term, plus 5 minus 2. So 5 plus negative 2 is plus 3y. Right. So this is your exit question. Once again, pay attention to the wording. So the question is, when this polynomial is subtracted from this polynomial, what is the result? And then the next part is, I want you to briefly write out the steps that you took to solve this problem, because doing it isn't as important as knowing why or how you do it. Alright, so again, answer this final question. You can pause video, work on itself. We'll go over in a second. We won't go over it. Probably go over it later. Again, make sure you have filled out the notes because there's those extra questions within the note packet. Make sure that you send it to me later on. I'm going to post the assignment in a bit. Besides that, if you had any questions on this material, please let me know as soon as possible. Either send me a message on Remind or you can email me. Besides that, good luck and have a great day.